Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in live to the Bama Standard Post Game show brought to you by Workspace Solutions. Go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button if you're in the live chat. Well, you already are rowdy right now, so we will be looking forward to hearing what you've got to say. With me tonight is Bo Scarbrough. We got him for a little bit of time, seeing what he's been saying here on Twitter. I know he's got a lot to say, and a man who is never short on his words, and that's one of our top fans, Luscion. Gentlemen, welcome in tonight.
What's up, Justin? What's up, Justin? What's up, Lucius?
Uh,
Paul, what's happening, Justin?
What's
man,
going on?
things didn't turn out the way we wanted to tonight, Bo. I'm going to go ahead and immediately turn it over to you. I know that you have a limited amount of time, but I wanted to get your words first, and then we will piggyback off of that and take it from there.
Yeah, first I want to say, I'm taking the time. My grandma's funeral was today, and we were watching the game after the funeral, outside. And I just want to say it's an embarrassment to the former guys that built that culture over there at Alabama, and the way how we carried out that tradition uh, of the Alabama Crimson Tide all the way from, you know, since since the 18, what I'm saying, since the school first was built 1831, you know, and I just feel like, yeah, we have the right player, we have the right team, but the tradition is not there. And what I mean by tradition, I see these guys with green mouthpiece, orange mouthpiece, gold mouthpiece,
Mm-hmm.
and this team was so undisciplined this game, multiple penalties, mistakes that you make in first day of practice that you learn from not to make, blown coverages, guys getting beat, guys, you know, uh, prima donnas, I would say. And I say these guys are prima donna. They think they have it all down, and they do, and I would say they do, but they just have to listen and put it in perspective of what Coach Saban is saying. Yes, y'all said that the dynasty is over. They did all this talk about, this all season, and then one out there and then back it up. And that's why when we played at Alabama, we didn't go out there and talk about what we gonna do and how we gonna do it and what type of team we are. No, we told we told you what we was gonna do far as a team. We didn't tell you what type of team we were because we had to find our identity at the time. And
Mm-hmm.
the team just this is a great team. This is a great team. I just think they just need to dial in and be more focused and carry out the tradition and stop worrying about what color mouthpiece you gonna wear this game.
Mm-hmm.
Wear the one that is issued. We have $1 million contract with Nike. We can get anything, but you want to go out and buy your own mouthpiece. I know a lot of fans probably don't think that a mouthpiece has such a big thing to do with your plan, which it does. Ask Coach Saban. That's why a guy that was on our team, we wore the correct uniform that was given to us. We didn't go out and buy our own things because we followed the rules. We did what Coach Saban asked us to do. And once we did what he asked us to do, we took it upon ourselves of what type of team that we were gonna be. And I just think this team is young, so I don't, I'm not bashing them, and I don't want any fans to bash them because this is a young team. But this team also should be disciplined enough to where they don't have these many penalties and these many easy mistakes that day one that you were supposed to have been fixed. So I just want to say that I don't want these fans to bash the team and say that this dynasty is not over because this is a young team, but I'm still upset about the undisciplined part. And
Mm-hmm.
that's one thing about Alabama. We always been disciplined. No matter what happened, we always were disciplined, especially staying on sides. That was our number one thing is lining up behind that line and staying on sides. And for us to, and that's the type of mistake that I'm talking about, day one mistakes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we just have to get these guys. We just have to get these guys time. We got our clock clean tonight. We got awakening. These guys see what can happen. They see that they can be beat. So they have to go. They have to go back Monday to the drawing board and figure out what type of team they're gonna be. Are they gonna be individual player? Or are they gonna be a team that play together and help each other out? And I hate to say it, but Kool-Aid is a leader of that team, and I think that they're following his lead, and his lead is being individual. It's like when the team and the defense is in the huddle, you somewhere else doing your own thing, want to be seen. Be with the defense. That being a team player. I'm not bashing Kool-Aid or saying anything about him. I'm giving an example of what a team is. A team is a team, not one player, not two players, not three. If 11 supposed to be on that field, then 11 supposed to do their job and let these guys do their job the correct way. You could be a prima donna when you get to the NFL when you making different type of money from other people. But as of right now, you on the Coach Saban and the University of Alabama rules and tradition. And I hate seeing the tradition being broken by guys wearing different colors that is not crimson and white, and that is and the cleat is not black and white. I'm sick and tired of them breaking the Alabama tradition, which we carried out all these years. Now these guys coming with these different mouthpieces, the different kind of cleat, the different type of attitude, and it's not what Alabama is about. Alabama is built by Bama. You do the correct thing when you're supposed to do it, how you're supposed to do it, where you're supposed to do it, and when you're supposed to do it. And we need guys on our team that is going to do that.
Ain't much we could really say to that. Bo really just laid it down.
Yeah, and like Willie said, these NIL deal is getting to these guys' head. They got this money and they think they son when they haven't done a damn thing for the University of Alabama yet. They have not brought a championship home yet. This team have not brought a title to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, where we call it Title Town. They not living by the Bama standard. They not living by Coach Saban rules. They not listening and understanding what Coach Saban is saying. Listen to this guy. He is successful for a reason. He wins
Mm-hmm.
for a reason. And I'm tired of people questioning his play of the game, questioning what players that he have on the field. This guy has been successful longer than some of these people been living, and I'm sick and tired of people questioning Coach Saban. When I've been on that leadership team, and I know what Coach Saban, and I know what Coach Saban is asking for. I know what he wants. He want these guys to follow the rule, do the right thing, do what being asked of you, and after that, then you do what's up to you. But before then, you buy by the rule. You buy into the program, buy into the system. Do what being told. Hold your head hold your head down, but also hold it up high. And be coachable. Be coachable. Everybody on that team is good. Every team we play is good. Everybody has somebody that is great on their team. So you cannot go in there with an attitude of that you just gonna automatically beat these guys. These guys train just like we do. They tie their shoes up and put their shoulder pads on and their helmet and scrap them up the same way we do. It's just a matter of time of which team gonna bow down, who gonna be standing. What team gonna have the mentality, the mindset, the physicality, the athleticism to be standing in the end when you dog tired and you looking across that line into your opponent's eye and you dog and he don't even know it and you not showing it. It's all about body language. And when you look into his eye and he drop and he look down or he put his hands on his knees, you got him beat. That is your bitch the whole night. You whoop his ass until he called himself off the field. I'm sick and tired of these guys being so soft. When they get a little bit of injury, they lay on the field. Like Coach Saban used to tell us, if your bone not poking out of your skin, you get your ass up and you hop off that field. We is a tough team. Alabama is Alabama for a reason. We have that standard for a reason. It called built by Bama for a reason. You didn't build nothing by yourself. We built it as a team, and that's the reason why they have those nice locker room, those nice weight room, that nice locker room at the stadium, them light flashing. But you have to live up to the Alabama standard, and the Bama standard is being physical, tough, and playing all 4 quarter lights out. I don't care how tired you is. You do not show your opponent, and Coach Saban teaches that, and that is the reason for the 4th quarter to get your ass in shape, and we go right into camp, and that's why no team could beat us because we took everything that Coach Saban said serious, and we did everything the right way. And I'm sorry, Justin. That's all the time I have, and that's what I wanted to say. I'm really pissed. I'm really pissed at the undiscipline of this team. I know they're young and I know it's early, but I'm really pissed off at how undisciplined we were during this game.
Man, I get it, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate your time tonight, and I cannot wait for Tuesday night to hear what else you got to say, brother. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank y'all, man. And roll tide. It's still roll tide. It's
Absolutely,
still roll.
brother.
It's still
Always roll
it's still
tide.
roll MF tide.
Yes, sir.
Still that.
Damn
And
right.
roll tide to my Alabama fan that are watching this live right now.
Roll Tide, man. We greatly appreciate it, Bo. We'll see you on Tuesday night.
All right, man. Thank you,
All
man.
right.
Roll tide,
Yes, sir.
everybody.
Roll Tide. Man, Luscion, I guess we can kind of start off there. The first thing that came to mind when I was talking to people tonight was, well, usually when Alabama loses a game, that automatically pisses them off. It pisses off Nick Saban and makes them a very dangerous team. Yes, that is quite true back in 2015, 2016, or any time before that, right? This is a different generation. Like Bo just said, one of the main reasons why he is so pissed off is because this generation does not understand who built that house that they are in, who made it possible, who paved the way so they could get their NIL deals to be able to get money in, get all the little free stuff they're getting. They don't quite understand that. They are all about building their own brand, right? So do they actually give a damn at this point? Because right now, back's against the wall. One loss, we're only in game 2, and we got a long season to go. Is everything out of the picture? Absolutely not. The SEC championship is still there. The national title is still there, but the road to the national title just got a hell of a lot harder. Go ahead.
You know, I'm going to speak for, most of Bama Nation tonight. We're hurt. Players, fans, coaches, former players. We're hurt. You got to realize that sometimes in life, it doesn't go the way you want. But you also have to realize that sometimes in life you have to lose to learn something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do know beyond a reasonable fact that we have the best and ultimate wild card in this whole college football Game of Thrones thing that's going to happen in December. We have Nick Saban. And I do believe that even though we had terrible offensive line play tonight, we had below average pass rush because we didn't even register a sack tonight, which makes me feel really uncomfortable about who I, even want to put out there right at this point, but I'm not a coach. So taking in all these outside factors and what happened tonight, the Texas Longhorns came in and handed us a big piece of humble pie. And me being the adult I am at this point, I am in my life, have had that on multiple occasions. So it's not on anything that we say as fans, anything as we say as analysts. It's all about how these players, young men that actually still currently wear that crimson white Alabama A on their chest, respond to it. They got knocked out. It happens. There ain't nobody that went through life that went undefeated their whole lives. It's not possible. We're human. We all make mistakes. But at this point, you have to honestly look at yourselves, because nobody on this team can honestly say that they went out and won Alabama a national championship with the ring that they might have on this team. We have a whole locker room full of guys that should be hungry enough, that should have enough pride in their systems to look at themselves in the mirror every morning when they wake up, and that have the honor and privilege to put on this A on their chest to go out there and compete every day to get better. And you can I've harped on the coaches, but maybe it's not all on the coaches. Maybe it's on the players and the coaches. Maybe it's a whole lot of disconnect. But at the end of the day, we're all still Bama Nation, and it's week 2. We got beat by a top 10 opponent. We got exposed, which personally, I like to know my mistakes early on before I actually have to undertake the real mission. So we are not in panic mode right now by any means. Texas has I'm not going to say Texas is back, because I still hate the Longhorns. Don't get that twisted. I hate everything orange, Bama Nation, for life. But I feel like that some of our players, like Bo really addressed, need to look at themselves in the mirror and ask themselves, is this crimson A on their chest for them? Or are they trying to make a statement for the university and try to etch their name in their team name in history? Because honestly, he's right. Kool-Aid, you know what I'm saying? A whole bunch of dudes out there talking about in personal interviews out there for themselves. They ain't talking about what the team goal is. So as far as I'm saying, just refer to what Bo said earlier in the show, because he said everything that needed to be said in an instant.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and address the hot topic, because this chat is already burning up. Jalen Milroe. Our channel has been one of the biggest advocates of Jalen Milroe ever since the start of the postseason in 2023. We weren't claiming him to be great. Our main focus was to get fans to give him a chance, to give all these quarterbacks a chance to win the job, and to do so in a convincing fashion. Jalen Milroe did have a great outing against Middle Tennessee State. Yes, it was Middle Tennessee State. I can see to that. But I saw improvement in his throws and his decision-making, his touch, mechanics. They all look pretty good. But tonight, he struggled heavily, and he got into quicksand, and he couldn't get himself out. So where do we go from here? I still continue, don't give up on him. I think this is an opportunity for him to learn. Last year, he had a horrible game against Texas A&M, still found a way to win. But then he was benched for Bryce Young and not seen again until garbage time of contests that were out of hand. Now he gets to go into the film room, study what he did, see what he did, and then be allowed to compete the next week and practice and get an opportunity to bounce back the next game. I think this could either make him or break him. I don't say, I think, and I could be way off base, Luscion. I don't think you bail on him quite yet. As a coach, you got to allow him to overcome the adversity, some of which was self inflicted. I will admit that tonight. He made a lot of mistakes. He did some good things too, but he's got to learn how to overcome quicksand. When things aren't going his way, he's got to get out of his own head and he's got to become confident, not only himself, but the guys around him who have to have his best interest at heart. He lost faith in what was going on around him because the world came crashing down. Can he bounce back from it? Absolutely. He's a man of great character, a man of faith. And with faith, you can do all things, right? So, Luscion, I want to get your thoughts on that, and so we can go ahead and address this elephant in the room before we move on to other areas like the offensive and defensive line, penalties, so on and so forth.
I have been one of the leading front-running guys, as in support for Jalen Milroe in the spring, in the summer, in the off season when he went to down and train with all those wide receivers. I covered that and shared all what they had going on down there with Kendrick Law, Isaiah Bond, Kobe Prentice, J.C. Latham, and Fergie was down there too. But I'm not losing faith in him by any means when I say this. I am just kind of questioning his progression because he's not hitting his second and third phase. And I'm wondering if that's something that they're not going over in practice, that they're not getting him comfortable with, because he's not even getting there. Like you as we look at him, like in the early in the second quarter, like there was a play that I remember specifically that he's looking out to his left in the flats, and then he automatically takes off. Now, to me, that tells me he's not comfortable in going through his second and his third and his fourth phase in progression. Now, obviously, we've seen tonight that he has maybe not been given a good look at that, or maybe he's not comfortable with that. But as a coaching staff, maybe at this point, you need to actually fine-tune like the specifics on what he needs to do, maybe more as like trying to get him to throw like a deep ball accurately. Like he's not off. It's not like he's missing a bunch. There's no reason for us to be like, oh, we need to replace him. Yes, did he make two bad decisions? Yes. But you have to look at the plays before that on what led up to him making those bad decisions. And it's not all on him. The offensive line had definitely let him down every point tonight. That's why he was looking to run, because if he had a comfortable pocket, then he wouldn't have been looking to run on any of those downs. He either got A, sacked, or B, through those interceptions, with exception to the first one. The first one was just a bad decision. There was like six guys around him. I'm not sure why he threw that. The second one, I can see why, sort of, because he missed him and he thought he had him on a hitch route. But still, as a quarterback at the level you play at, you have to understand that the defense is going to bait you every time. And the defense baited him, and he took it, and they killed us on it. So, honestly, I really think that maybe Jalen just needs more experience. I'm not saying we need to replace Jalen at all, because there's nothing any of our other quarterbacks could have done better. That's why Jalen was out there.
Right.
So as far as every fan base, like everybody in our fan base, like, oh, we need a quarterback. We need to see Buckner. We don't need to see anybody. What we need to see is more consistency from Jalen Milroe, and that comes with reps. This is only his fourth game in playing Power 5 football, and this is Texas. Texas is a, whatever we like to say, they're a very good opponent. Sark had them prepared for what the game plan was. So, and obviously our offensive line, which obviously Justin and I are going to get into on our next little piece, wasn't up to the task.
Absolutely. And I wanted to address the big things that really kept Alabama out of this game. Yes, the offensive line was an issue. Yes, the defensive line was doing their best to keep Quinn Ewers' jersey the whitest of white. Honestly, I think his jersey was whiter after the game than when it actually came in. But I digress. I look at
like they were having a starch guard on there.
I look at self-inflicted wounds. One of the biggest problems for Alabama last year was penalties. We were amongst the last in the nation in terms of penalties per game. We averaged, I believe, 8 to 9. Yes, we averaged 8 to 9 penalties per game for 80-plus yards. Okay, first game we only had 2. We started to think things were looking up. Silly us. Fast forward to tonight, we had 10 penalties for 90 yards.
Well, you can really call it 12.
2 of which.
I call it 12. I call it 12 because they missed them.
2 of which wiped out 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns makes this a different game. Self-inflicted wounds. Lack of discipline. Rearing its ugly head. Yes, it's game 2. But I'm sorry, we as Alabama fans are a little gun shy because we've seen this all too often, past 2 or 3 years. Luscion, what kind of effect did the self-inflicted wounds have on this? Was that the greatest catalyst to this loss tonight?
You know what, Justin? I don't really disagree with you on too many points, but I disagree with you on that right now. I watched this game, and when I watch an Alabama football game, I don't watch the actual game per se, like how a normal fan does. They're focused on what's going on with the crowd and what's going on with the refs, what's going on with the team. I focus on the body language of the team. And I addressed something earlier in something cast I was on earlier in the night. I really didn't see too many players be offended on what happened tonight. And I feel like that tells a bigger story because, yeah, I harped on the captains getting on it like, yeah, we're going to do this, that, and the third, and they didn't get that done. But what really kind of stood out to me is after them getting it handed to them on a platter, none of them seemed offended. I didn't see nobody getting in nobody's ass. I didn't see nobody yelling at nobody. I didn't see no, fights. Honestly, from the first snap, I didn't see a fist fight. That first drive, yeah, we want to toss. So we defer to the second half. That's Bama business. We won that, but it wasn't like we won that because we didn't earn that. I don't really think that we've had a fighting team in a couple of years. And I'm not saying this team can't become a fighting team because it's only week 2. But somebody needs to remind these players very quickly on why they have the honor and privilege to wear that A on their chest. Because what I just watched, aside from maybe a handful of players, and I'm saying I can count 11 on both sides, and those 11 people don't include anybody on either offensive or defensive line because those dudes got they ass whooped at home in Titletown. You look at all their offensive and defensive lineman jerseys, because I did. I didn't see a speck of crimson on them. Our defensive and offensive line should be offended. I done talked our defensive line up, our offensive line up, like, yeah, we got 3 dudes over 350. We'll be good. We should move these dudes.
Hey, not only that,
It's big.
Luscion, we have guys who are upperclassmen, juniors and seniors.
Hey, that was going to be my next point because I hate to take a shot, but dealing with my history is kind of what I did for a living. So I'm going to take a shot at the top. I think it might be time to get a whole bunch of these coaches, a whole bunch of these players off their pedestal that hasn't been earned. Like Bo said, I'm not a player at all. I'm a fan. I'm an analyst. That's what I do. But like Bo said earlier, they ain't earned shit. They ain't done not a damn thing. Will Anderson, Malachi Moore was there too, but those two are the last two in that defensive locker room that have a leg to stand on if they want to talk about playing to a Bama standard. And Malachi Moore, yes, he did play to the Bama standard tonight.
Yes, he did.
But he was the only one. Jaheim Otis, he can't do it by himself. I don't know what Tim Smith was lying on the deck for, but I remember Saban, like what Bo said, you don't lay on the floor unless you can't get up. And then he was in the next series. I'm confused. I said, oh, shit, I thought Tim Smith was out. And he's out there the next series. Get up, dude. And like Bo said, I said this last year when I got on, and I went on about Kool-Aid McKinstry. And I'm about to get on Bama Nation right now, and y'all can hate me once again. But I am not impressed with Kool-Aid McKinstry. Still not going to be, because he wants to act like he's a shutdown corner. Well, guess what? Shutdown corners were number 2, number 26. Them's the last 2 shutdown corners that came out of Bama. You, my friend, are not. You don't come up on run support, you miss tackles. I don't understand. Like, you claim to be the captain of the defense, but the defense was on no page with the linebackers to the secondary. Everyone's on a miscommunication page. And then when you back there taking punch, you tiptoeing like you Bambi on Christmas, bro. Like, Kool-Aid, I'm calling you out again. And you ain't the only one. I'm calling Dallas out too, because Dallas, you don't talk about Julius murder ball. The only ball I've seen this year is us getting murdered during the second half with Texas having the ball. So I'm not losing faith, Bama Nation. So shut up and trying to hate me on that. This is my city. I love this team. What I'm asking for is, do we have heart? And on the offensive side of the ball, no offense to Roydell Williams, I know he put his stripes in. But if it's third down and anything other than 3rd and 2nd and 3rd and short, he should not be in the game, because as a pass catcher, he is not aware of where he's at on the field. That should have been Jan Miller in. Because if that's Jan Miller in on that 3rd and 6, when Roydell just fell after a 3rd and 3 of catching the ball, Jan Miller scores a touchdown and we're up. And we go down, stop, touchdown, and we're up 14. It's just a different game. Tommy Reese is new. He just needs to get his rotation right. And I didn't see no Justice Haynes. Was he hurt? I didn't see no Jahai Campbell on linebacker either. And no offense to Trezor Marshall, but he got straight cooked by that damn tight end. So we have the personnel. We have the 5 stars. I don't understand why we're not using them. And Seth McLaughlin, bro, you had 9 bad snaps tonight, and you let up like 2 sacks. Like, I don't even know what to say to you right now. I don't even know.
And let me jump in there. Seth McLaughlin is one of the most consistent guys on the offensive line. has been the past 3 years. He's probably been one of the stronger guys up there. Definitely a lot stronger than Darian Dalcourt, who we will get to in just a minute. He's been making uncharacteristic mistakes already this year. The low snaps, that it just something's not right. I don't know if it's because of the issues with other players around him. They're just throwing off his mojo.
What does have to do with him
I don't
the
know what it
ball?
is, and it's hard for me to see a guy who's been wrecking shop for his entire career up to this point who all of a sudden just has a complete change of character. I'm curious to see what's going on beyond the surface there. Darian Dalcourt, I'm sorry, he ain't it. He's a turnstile.
Don't even get me started on him. Don't even get me. He's not even a turnstile at this point. That dude, Darian Dalcourt, is like the automatic carpet when you go to Walmart, when you walk over it and the doors just magically open. That is the equivalent of that dude's blocking power. I know he might be 6'3", 300 pounds, but Jalen doesn't break to the left side if he's not getting pressured from the right side. That doesn't even make sense. Watch the film. Every time, which side did he break out? Every time. What side?
Yeah,
it's because Seth sucked tonight. I'll be honest. He didn't have a good game. I don't know what was wrong in his head. He couldn't stop the ball. He couldn't block nobody. Whatever. But Dalcourt doesn't help, and we didn't see Ferguson at all. It's like we're not having success on that side. Make a change. Our receivers, you can't say nothing about. I swear to God, our receivers probably played the best of the night because
they were fantastic.
Passes.
If you look at them, man, the routes were there. They were cooking DBs.
Exactly.
They were open all night. They just weren't getting looks.
That's
like
why
I said, Jalen was in his quicksand and he couldn't get out of his head. But they were there. But in the second half, but in the second half, he did calm down and he started finding guys like Kobe Prentice and he started finding. He found Jermaine Burton.
They had to all make plays on the ball. They all had to make amazing catches to get them in. It wasn't like he was piecing the defense apart. Kobe Prentice, Jermaine Burton, and Malik Benson all had to come up in coverage. He threw them into coverage. Every single ball they caught was in double coverage, Justin. That's a problem as a quarterback. If they're in double coverage, that means somebody else is wide open. Go through your phases, Jalen. And he wasn't. Jermaine Burton had 5 touchdowns tonight, wide open. If all Jalen had to do was just – oh, my bad.
Shout out real quick to Jimmy Clay. $10. Tell it like it is. We appreciate you, Jimmy Clay.
The bag.
But, hey, I'm going to wait and see when it comes to Jalen Milroe. Did he play his best game? Absolutely not. But then again, remember, Mac Jones in his first opportunity on the big stage against Auburn in Auburn had a similar game. He had 3 turnovers, and he turned it around. We'll see if Jalen Milroe can turn it around.
Okay. Timeout. Justin, you're talking about a Mac Jones that's going. We're talking about 2 different We're talking about 2 different players at 2 different points of the season. Mac Jones in the deeper part of the season when a defense is clicking, that they're on all cylinders. You're talking about a Texas defense in week 2. You can't compare Jalen Milroe to Mac Jones because they're 2 different parts of the seasons when they took over. And realistically, Jalen Milroe should have a better offensive line than Mac did.
Yeah, realistically, on paper, based on everything they're telling us, I absolutely agree. This is supposed to be one of the best Alabama offensive lines in history. Matter of fact, they're saying they're the largest there ever has been. They average 350 pounds. They're 6'5", and we heard all season we're going to make their ass quit. That's what Tyler Booker told us. That's what J.C. Latham told us. You know what? I'm going to go on record. I don't want to hear another damn word from anybody. I'm tired of lip service. I don't want to hear it. You tell us all these great things. Okay, awesome. Let's print the T-shirts up, put them in the NIL store. We'll go buy them. No, I'm not buying anything right now. I want everybody off social media. I want everybody in that locker room, that weight room, that practice field doing the things that Bo talked about.
Seth McLaughlin having a hat that says "Run the damn ball" and you're getting pushed back every single play as a center, and you're the most veteran player on that offensive line, bro. Come on, man. You don't had a rep for blocking Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, and you get pushed around by some Texas Longhorns. You got to have some pride. Like, I don't know what done gone around. Maybe this team. You know what? Justin? I don't just saw this. Here's what needs to happen. Right. So there's this show I watched as a kid. You know, like this doesn't have nothing to do with it because it was a basketball show. But maybe this team, because they think they're so magnanimous, maybe they need to get brought back down to the level of they ain't nothing. I think Saban needs to take the locker room away from him. Take them colorful mouthpieces away from him. Take the color cleats away from him. Take the wristbands. Take all that away from him. You come out in whatever jersey we're wearing. If you're cold, you can wear a long sleeve shirt. But if not, you can wear your gloves. If you want your wrist tapes, you can get your wrist tapes. But other than that, you don't need nothing. Because as far as I'm concerned, and I know Saban's feeling this, and you're feeling this, ain't nobody on this team earned a damn bit of nothing right to think they can dress a certain way, to think they can stand separate from being in the crimson white. Because it's football season, and I feel like that has been missed in our locker room. I know it's football season, and the fans recognize that. But I think that some of our players, especially the upperclassmen, don't understand what it really means to be an Alabama football player. And I hope Jonathan Allen specifically sees this video because that dude was the epitome of an Alabama football player. And we ain't had an Alabama football player since him. Because I remember them interviewing him. Oh, so who plays football like this? He straight up looked at the media and said, Alabama do. This is what we do at Bama. And that's all he said. That was a man of short, simple words. I don't want to see an interview. Why do you do this? This is what Alabama do. Flat out. We're getting too much of the loose lip glib. We ain't bringing no shoulder pads. Honestly, this is almost as bad as watching Huggin Henry back there because
Let's not go back to that. Hey, real quick, we got a shout out to Texas Gaming 499. The bullies of the SEC got bullied tonight. Couldn't agree more. Texas Gaming. Let's go ahead and give credit where credit is due. Steve Sarkisian called an amazing game. Obviously, he is one of the best, if not the best, offensive minds in the game right now. This guy can out-scheme anybody, any day, any time. So shout out to him and what he in positions he put Quinn Ewers in. Not only Quinn Ewers, but the weapons around him like Xavier Worthy. I have to give credit where credit's due. So, but as far as
do that because our defensive backs are dumb.
Listen, I think that he took advantage of the youth and Caleb Downs. If Caleb Downs is a little bit older,
it wasn't Caleb's fault. It was a 5-6 seconds. No safety should have to cover a slot receiver. But we didn't have no pass rush.
Well, I agree with that. That's one of the glaring stats right there. There was zero pass rush. His shirt is gleaming white, heavenly white, like outside the pearly gates, white. If that jersey ain't dirty, you're not doing your job. And I didn't see anything from the linebackers tonight. Chris Braswell.
Who?
Quandarius Robinson.
Who?
Dallas Turner.
Who?
Trevin Marshall. Last week they were flying over the field. Made their presence known.
Why was Jahad Campbell not on the field?
He's not 100%. He was on the field at times, but he couldn't go.
Damn. No one was tackling nobody in space. Like Trevin Marshall and Deontay Lawson were the only ones that were playing football tonight What was our defensive line doing? Did they even show up tonight? Did they even know there was a game in Tuscaloosa? Because wow, you let Texas come in and just push us around all 4 quarters. They didn't run the ball. The fact that we had 0 sacks, that's offensive. We have the most 5-star outside linebackers in the mother country, and you couldn't get one back there. Like Freddie Roach. Is our defense? Does our defensive line realize that they're able to rush the passer? Do they realize that? Because they didn't show that tonight. Other than Jaheim Otis and Tim Keenan, because he gets double teamed. But Tim Smith got thrown on his ass. Damon Payne, I don't even know if that 44, like he looked like a linebacker getting thrown on his ass like 6 times. Can I see number 47 and 94? Can I see some freshmen? Because everyone's like, oh, Jaheim Latham's going to do something. He didn't do nothing either. When did you start seeing these freshmen out there? I know everyone's – okay, Justin.
Let me address this real quick. Eric Owens, Arnold had 1,000 penalties. Yes, Terry and Arnold did have some penalties, but the thing is, I attribute that to him being aggressive.
Not his fault. Not his fault.
No, it's not his fault. That's what the point I want to make. It wasn't his fault. He had to try to overcome a lot of mistakes that were being made by people not doing their job, and he was also playing aggressive. Him and Malachi Moore were playing very aggressive tonight. They played Bama ball. I had no problem with the penalties that Terrion had.
I didn't either, because he's going through a phase, and he knew. He's an athlete. He's out there, and he was being physical. And he stopped a lot of the phases on their screen passes, where Kool-Aid McKinstry was just out there laying on his ass getting blocked. And we honestly need another safety. I know Caleb went out for a second, but Christian Story ain't it.
And I think Caleb Downs is going to be a tremendous player. He's going to be an impact guy. You just got to give him time. And, at times, like I said, Sark did pick on him a little bit because he was young, but that's something that will not last very long. I really expect him to make a monumental turn very soon, and people aren't going to be throwing in his area of the field. And I do want to address something because it's already in the chat. People are already wanting to bail on Kevin Steele. Listen, I'm not going to bail on Kevin Steele. This is game 2, and a lot of things can be corrected. And I feel like during practice, film session, and whatnot, he's going to get a lot of things corrected that he saw tonight. So for anyone who is ready to write him off, I say push pause on that and give him the opportunity to right the ship. Arsenio Patillo, really miss Bo Davis and Coach Sal. Couldn't agree more.
What are you going to say Steele did wrong? The players were in the right spots.
They were.
They just didn't get no push. You can't fault a coach for putting the players in the right position. Dallas Turner was in the right position. He got double teamed all night. But at the same time, Chris Braswell has to do something against a one-on-one against that opposite tackle. And if he's not going to do something about that, he at least needs to keep outside contained and not let that back get outside and kill us like it did tonight. But like I said, that's experience. This is only Braswell, his 4th game actually starting. True. So I'm hurt more than probably 99.9% of Bama Nation. Because y'all don't understand how serious I take this. But I'm also not a player. I'm also not a coach.
Makes a great point right here. Hell no, the defense was on the field too long. I attribute that right there to some of the problems we had. The offense was not getting it done, and the defense was getting gassed. And you can be playing well for a long period of time, but if you're on that field too long, all of a sudden you're not able to make the tackles the way you need to. So that was
it's our guard play. It's our guard play. Our center and our guard play were ass tonight.
Dexter, I have to disagree with you here. In the first half, we did have a run game, and we were very successful at it. We tended to drift away from it, but then in the second half, they knew what we were doing, so they were able to load the box and take that aspect out, and they're daring us to throw it down the field. I think that Jace McClellan had a great night when he was given his opportunities before the offensive line said, F them kids, and stop opening the lanes for him to run in, him and Rodell both. But then again, like I said, they were bringing the house anytime we were trying to run the ball. So I do have to ask this. We're getting towards the end of our time. Luscion, if you had to take some positives away going forward, because next week is a brand new week. We go to Tampa to face South Florida as an opportunity to kind of get things going in the right direction before Ole Miss comes to town. I got to ask you, what positives do you have? Was there a player tonight that you gained more respect for?
It's hard to pinpoint a player that in a game like this that you actually gain respect for when you lose just by a team that just looked like we gave up on the defensive side of football. So I'm going to highlight a position group that I know a lot of Alabama Nation had a question mark at the beginning of the year, but I really felt that our receivers really stepped up when they were given the opportunity, specifically Isaiah Bond, Kobe Prentice, and Malik Benson. Also, not black too. And we can't let CJ DePree's blocking go unacknowledged when he was in the game too, because he created the space for Jalen to be able to make a lot of those deep passes. So I feel that the receivers were probably the best position group tonight, just because I feel both lines just were sorry, which didn't lead to good linebacker play because they were out of position because they had to make up for the fact that our line was getting abused. I felt like our cornerbacks were out of place because our defensive line let the quarterback sit back there for 5 and 6 seconds, so which puts the cornerbacks and the safeties out of position, which originally is not their fault, but still they were out of position, so you can't let that go unacknowledged. But I also feel like a shout-out should go to Will Riker because he kept us in the game tonight with his boot, and that's going to be big. That's going to be big going for us. Going down in the deeper part of the SEC, especially if we can't get this quarterback, receiver, moving the ball and offense situation figured out. Because unless we figure that out, it doesn't matter who we have on defense, because we need to keep our defense fresh. And our defense was on the field, I think, probably 3/4 to a quarter of the time the offense was. And it was because our offense is scoring. Now, if our offense is scoring every time they're on the field, that's not a big deal. But our offense wasn't scoring tonight. They weren't moving the ball. They weren't allowing our running backs to get up in first down coverage. I also feel that maybe our personnel needs to change on third down on both sides of the football. I feel that we have athletes on both sides that can affect the game in different phases of the ball. For example, if we're a 3rd and long, I don't think Roydell needs to be in the backfield, because I feel that we have guys that can catch the ball in the backfield, that will be on balance, and that can look for the first down a little bit better than he can. I feel that Roydell is a little bit more of a downhill possession running back, whereas I feel that maybe a Justice Haynes, Jace McClellan, and specifically in the situations we are tonight, I wanted to see more Jam Miller, because he gets the ball in his hand, it's electric, whether it's a pass or a run, and he's physical, and he doesn't get off balance. Whereas I kind of feel that is Jace's problem, and as well as Roy Dell. I feel like they don't stay as balanced once they get hit. Jace can break a tackle, but he can't do a whole lot after he breaks that tackle. Whereas Jam and what I've seen, a little bit of film I have on Justice, they both have that ability to, once they break contact, is to actually make a move from that contact. And you saw that tonight. Texas has athletes. We go against athletes. This is the SEC. We're not in an easy conference, Bama Nation. So we're going to face really good defense. So we're going to face top athletes in the nation. So when we face these top athletes, we need to have backs in the game in those situations. I'm not saying they can't play because Jace and Roy Dell can definitely play the game. But in passing instances, you need to have a running back that's looking to do something. And that's also kind of what maybe we need to look for as receivers too. Because I feel that Brooks, he ain't looking for the ball. I don't know what maybe he was just the best option at the time, but I feel like Burton, Bond, I would say Prentice, and Benson are our top receivers right now. And Black was missed so many times tonight, but again, our right side of the line just fell through. Because if Jalen can read his second and third phase, man, like we had 2-3 touchdowns that he missed. But go ahead. I got rambling.
No, you're good. And I'll close this out. Daquan Menziga, give a shout out to him. Caleb Downs and Burton, I gain respect for. Definitely got to echo that too, Daquan. Caleb Downs, you can't see anything negative about him. Were there a few plays where he kind of had some oops moments? Absolutely. That just comes from being young, but that will be cleaned up real quick. Caden Proctor, I know it's a lot of negativity being thrown his way tonight. Did he get beat? Yes. Did he get worked a little bit? Yeah, he did. He had one of those, we're going to teach you something tonight, young fella, moments. But this is only his second game as a starter. I think he's going to get a lot better. I think he's probably going to go down as one of the best offensive linemen at Alabama. But as far as who showed me something tonight, got to go with Caleb Downs. Got to go with Jermaine Burton. He was cooking folks with them routes. He was a dog tonight. And I got to eat crow a little bit because I was negative about him all off season. But then again, it is a long season.
So was I.
But he has shown up the past 2 weeks. And then, like you said, Kobe Prentice, hey, he's a baller. He did some great things tonight. Malik Benson made some great catches. Marina Black, same with him. I like our running backs. I like Roy Dell. I like Jace. I think they're playing very hard. We just need an offensive line who can provide lanes for them an entire
It's our
game.
lines.
But
it's our lines that don't allow the rest of our, like in football, people don't understand the reason that great athletes are not able to do what great athletes do is because other people aren't doing their jobs. So when Nick Saban goes into his press conference and he says, I need 11 guys doing their job and only worrying about doing their specific job, and then we will be successful. A lot of people don't understand what that means. If every single player in our defense did exactly what they needed to do every time, we would shut everybody out. That's what people don't understand about Georgia. Everyone's like, well, Kirby Smith's got his defense playing on another level. No, he doesn't. Kirby Smith just convinced everybody on the defensive side that plays his football is to just concentrate on doing their job the best that they can do it every time. That's what makes them successful. If Nick Saban and Kevin Steele can get that drilled back into our defensive players, and more specifically, if Roach can get that drilled into our defensive line, then we're still going to win the national championship.
absolutely.
We'll beat Texas in the playoffs. I'm not worried about that. We'll get our get-backs in January. You're worried about Texas.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, are we going to respond from getting punched out? are we going to get back up from getting this knockout punch?
This is a
Because
great test of
it's not about
character
us.
this week. It's how do we respond ultimately to being knocked down? Do we take this as an opportunity to rise up and get better? Do we take this as an opportunity to get pissed off for greatness, as the great Ray Lewis always said? We're going to find out, and we're going to find out quick. We got a long season to play, but backs against the wall, we can't afford another L. So, what do we see coming next? We are going to find out. But that is going to do it for us tonight. Before we head out, Luscion, if you would, tell the folks how they can find you on social media. If y'all want to follow this man, he's always got a lot to say. Definitely worth listening to. And then I'll close this out.
I am on Twitter all the time at ROLush21. My Twitter handle. I'm always on there. I'm also on Facebook, Luscion Graves, and Instagram if y'all want to get at me. I'm got some shows working right now that I'm trying to get on, so stay tuned.
Awesome. And you know what we do at the Bama Standard? We are a network of shows. On Tuesday night, the flagship show, the Bama Standard, with me, Marvin Constant, Steve Brown, Bo Scarbrough, and Stephen N. Smith will be back. And based on the chat tonight, Daquan Menzie will be our guest. We have a lot to talk about. Cannot wait to hear what our guys got to say. You know, they are politically incorrect, and they're going to say what's on their mind. So, folks, I guarantee you, for pure entertainment value, check that out at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. The Final Whistle with Matt Cadell, Chris James, Dan James, Ty Hayes, and Coach Smook will be on at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday night. And, folks, I want y'all to check out a new show, The Crimson Dynasty, with Cece Payne, coming from a female's perspective, who can bring all the knowledge. Yes, she does have great knowledge, and she knows some things that you probably have no idea about. So please show up on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern to support her. We got a lot of things coming up. Y'all stay tuned. Season's not over. That's going to do it for all of us. Guys, Luscion, roll Tide.
Roll Tide.